and welcome to our Gym Challenge Premier Challenge here at Psycho Turtle in Pico Rivera, California. I am Dennis Geisler, this is Fuecoco. He's a little mixed up today. In any case, we are about to get underway. Again, Premier Challenge today, we have 17 people here today, so we'll have top 8 cut, 5 rounds of Swiss getting into this one. Del looked at me, I think he was hoping I'd said it right. Anyways, we have two great competitors for this first round. Junxi, with that Porygon 2 team that we like so much. Amoonguss, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Porygon 2, Landorus Incarnate, Incineroar, and a Golden Go. And we have Jiang, Dragonite, Chien-Pao, Archeludon, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Landorus Incarnate, and Pelipper. Interesting teams on both these sides. We've seen Junxi's team quite a bit here in SoCal. Obviously, that Porygon 2, star of the show, able to set up Trick Room, undo Trick Room, gets the download bonuses, boosts its Terra Blast damage if it decides to Terrastallize, and it does get the attack bonus from download. You know where you get what I'm saying. Looks like that Metal Coat Golden Go, I believe. I don't recognize that from before, but in any case, on the other side, we've got a Rain team. Both a bit of Cryo spam as well as Rain. Curious to see where the Landorus fits on this team. Well, I guess I can see where all of it comes from. This Urshifu Rapid Strike is also Choice Scarf, but doesn't have Yuki. Curious to see how that matches up against an Amoonguss here. We are getting underway. We have Archeludon and Pelipper against Porygon and Incineroar. So already we have the Rain lead on Jihao's side. And that Archeludon certainly already a decent bit threatening. It will be able to launch out that Electro Shot if it wants. There is no way for Junxi to overwrite Weather with this team. The Rain is a pretty convenient bring. Archeludon going to be tough to break through for any of these Pokemon. Going to be a Fake Out onto the Pelipper, stop it from getting anything done. Archeludon will get the Electro Shot off as the fastest thing remaining on the field. Let's see what that Electro Shot is targeted into. Going for the Porygon 2, decent chunk, mostly gets that extra boosted damage. Porygon 2 will set up the Trick Room, flip that speed matchup. Haven't exactly seen what the speed matchup is as of yet, but this Porygon 2 is pretty slow, and Incineroar as well. This Pelipper, Weather Ball, Hurricane, Protect, Tailwind, pretty standard things, all things considered. We'll see the Terra Blast out of Porygon 2, it is the fastest now. There's a solid chunk there to the Pelipper. Parting Shot go into the Archeludon. That'll make its special attack back to neutral, drop its attack, although actually will affect its Heavy Slam. Amoonguss will switch in now. Very difficult to match up with, although Pelipper goes for a Hurricane in the right spot. It can do a solid job. It does go for the Weather Ball instead, which will do not very effective damage, 100 base power with water type damage. The Draco Meteor misses. That's a pretty significant miss. Not sure if that would have even picked up the knockout. Would have been close at least. But missing entirely is pretty bad, all things considered. Amoonguss now pretty comfortable to sit up here. A Terra Blast into the Pelipper does finish it off. Amoonguss will go first with a Spore. Makes that Archeludon fall asleep. Closes its little eyes. Porygon 2's Terra Blast, that will finish off the Pelipper, indeed. Picks up the first knockout of our tournament today. And the Archeludon will take its guaranteed sleep turn. Not sure how you beat Junxi with this setup right now. The Landorus is going to help quite a bit. 2 turns of Trick Room remain. This Landorus is going to have to take a solid hit. Might have to Terrastallize just to get away from this Porygon 2 Ice Beam damage. Will absolutely shred Landorus. It's also definitely going to be in danger to a spore here from Amoonguss. We'll have to protect at least once, but not sure how it gets out of this. Not asleep. Not asleep and hit pretty hard. Even just a Terra Blast from the Porygon 2 will hit pretty hard. Landorus will protect. And Junxi will read that, gets a nice Pollen Puff off into the Porygon 2. Goes for the Ice Beam. Gets blocked, but regardless, a solid turn there for Junxi. We will see the second sleep turn taken by that Archaludon. Does have a solid chance of waking up this turn here. The Assault Vest doesn't have Protect or anything. At this point, it's going to be difficult. I think the Landorus might have to be a double Protect here. See how it wants to get out of this. We'll see the Terrastalize. I believe that will indeed be the Landorus. It'll be Terra Poison, as we see on these Landoruses so much. Earth Power, Sand Seer, Storm, Sludge Bomb, Protect. And it will get the Spore off. No attempt at a double Protect, just gets the Sleep down. Porygon 2's Ice Beam. Solid damage. Should be able to finish off with the Terra Blast. Draco Meteor coming out into the Amoonguss. That'll pick up the knockout. Heavily weakened Archaludon at this point, but finally gets the Amoonguss out of the way. No more Spore now. Rain stops, and so does Trick Room. So the Landorus is in a better spot. It has already taken its sleep turn. Should definitely be the fastest thing on the field. Could try to get around this. The big issue here is that the Porygon 2 is very likely to get a Trick Room off again, which isn't as catastrophic. No more Spores around, but still going to be difficult to play against, particularly with a Landorus on fairly low HP, and that Landorus being one of the only win conditions that I think exists here. I'll have to see. The Archaludon is at -2 special attack, -1 attack. It has Body Press. That Body Press could be the best option against Porygon 2 regardless. We will see the Landorus sleep turn. We'll see the Electro Shot. That's going to boost the special attack, but lock it into using Electro Shot next turn as well. Bit of a strange choice there, giving off a free turn to Junxi. Gets the Nasty Plot up, gets the Trick Room up, just a pure setup turn for Junxi, and works pretty well, all things considered. And this is going to be a tough spot to get out of now. I'm not really sure what the point of that Electro Shot was. I don't think that the Body Press would have knocked out Porygon 2. But it was at least worth a shot, I think. Very, very weird decision. In any case, Porygon 2 launches out an Ice Beam against the Archaludon. The only thing that does neutral damage against it could be a decent condition to try to pick up a win, but this +2 Make It Rain will knock out the Landorus, will do pretty solid damage to the Archaludon, all things considered. Gets a stamina boost, but that doesn't really matter that much against both these special attackers. Landorus will drop. There goes the Terrastal there. The Electro Shot finishes its use and does mediocre damage into that Golden Go. And the last Pokemon is that Urshifu. Choice Scarf in Trick Room, not where you want to be. And now it should just be a matter of Junxi cleaning up this one. Not be in very much danger to lose this. barring something very strange happening. We'll see the Terrastal finally coming out from Junxi. I believe that's the Terra Dragon on the Golden Go. Indeed it is. That Terra Dragon Golden Go, not the more offensive variant, the Terra Steel. Get all the defensive power it can. The Terra Blast! Solid damage to the Urshifu, and the Make It Rain should finish off game number 1. Indeed it does. Junxi with the 1-0 lead here in game number 1. Definitely already a lot of advantage from the leads there. There's not a lot pulled out of the Pelipper Archaludon lead. It is such a valuable lead, but Porygon 2, such a bulky Pokemon, able to set up the Trick Room, and Incineroar, very good at pivoting out, getting in the Amoonguss, just the slow, more, I guess bulky is still the word I want to go for, that bulky Trick Room team. Excuse me, I hit the microphone. The bulky Trick Room team that Junxi has here. It's so difficult to play around if you don't have a very offensive setup or some way to counteract the Trick Room, which really doesn't. Possible the priority spam could be an option here. Dragonite and Chenpao still both here. They both do lots of damage. Inner Focus will prevent Incineroar from being all that annoying to the two of them. Did not see those two in the first battle. We'll see. Junxi at 1-0. Again, this is just round number 1 here today. 5 rounds of Swiss. And in we go to game number 2. Going to be a different lead this time. It will be the Dragonite and the Chenpao. Porygon 2 Incineroar, same lead from Junxi. So, Chenpao will get its attack dropped. But the Sword of Ruin will make up for that in terms of Chenpao's damage, and Dragonite, with that Choice Band, with the Inner Focus, blocks the Intimidate. We'll be doing a lot of damage here, and now see what the decision is. It might be an instant Terra Normal from the Dragonite here. There's nothing... The Golden Go can block the Extreme Speed. And the Golden Go can actually play around Chenpao reasonably well. The Sucker Punch only affects it if it attacks. You will see that immediate Terrastal. And it's the Chenpao, not the Dragonite. Terra Ghost Chenpao. Means it won't be taking a Fake Out here from Incineroar this turn. Nor will it be affected by a Terra Blast from Porygon 2. It's the Terra on Junxi's side as well. Slower Terra from the slower Pokemon. It will be the Porygon 2 Terra Poison. Not see this all too often. Always has that Terra Poison in the back pocket. Curious to see what the decision for that was. Extreme Speed, critical hit, does a solid amount of damage. Sacred Sword not going to finish off though, since it does not have the super effective damage. Parting Shot into Dragonite, excuse me. Going to drop its attack and get Incineroar right out of there. Most likely we'll be seeing the Amoonguss coming in here. Could be the Golden Go as well. I'd expect the person I was talking to you right now in the audience. I think it's not really much to think about. Terra Poison, Porygon 2. I'm curious to see if another Extreme Speed actually finishes it off. We might not get the opportunity to find out with Rage Powder in play. We'll see the Trick Room. Not super important because of the priority on both of these Pokemon. But it is still relevant to note that the Rage Powder is in play for Amoonguss, which will negate a lot of that. We don't know exactly what's in the back here. Excuse me for Zihao. See the Rage Powder from the Amoonguss. Will now take the hits. We'll see the Dragonite still going for that extreme speed. Gonna get a little bit of chip from the Rocky Helmet. Porygon 2's Ice Beam, that'll shred Dragonite. Indeed, it finishes it off. Big damage there from the Porygon 2. And Icicle Crash, and that's gonna miss onto the Amoonguss. A decent attempt. It probably would have done some decent damage, but just not going to get there. Sometimes Pokemon is a little rough, and the critical hit earlier certainly helped, but Junxi on the better side of that one. That Icicle Crash miss. It's gonna be Urshifu coming in now. At this point, I think it's a decent time for Porygon 2 could honestly recover at this point, or it could just keep launching out damage with a Terra Blast. Try to get a nice little Pollen Puff from the Amoonguss. So many options for Junxi with this bulky team here. Also, the Spore is an option as well if there's one specific Pokemon that's particularly dangerous. I've not seen Porygon 2 go for Terra Poison all that often. What we've seen, the download bonus, if it gets the attack, the attack increase, does then mean that the Terra Poison, Terra Blast is stronger as a physical move and does physical damage instead. Did not see earlier what Terra Blast it was, or what download bonus it was, excuse me. See the Terra Poison onto the Urshifu. Solid damage, not enough to knock out. And the Chenpao will take its first sleep turn as it got hit by the Spore a moment earlier. Ice Spinner into the Porygon 2, not going to finish it off, just barely not enough damage. And now here's the most dangerous thing about that Porygon 2. It does have the Recover 2 if you can't get rid of it quickly enough, and it seems like Junxi is making sure that Porygon 2 stays standing one way or another. It has the Recover, has the Pollen Puff next to it. There are a lot of options here in terms of keeping this standing. Also, Chenpao will be able to go for the Sucker Punch this turn up against the Porygon 2 if it does not go for the Recover. Gonna be the switch. Urshifu leaves, Landorus comes in. It will be waking up, going for the Sucker Punch, and failing. Great read there by Junxi, getting out of that one with the Pollen Puff onto the Porygon 2. Might regenerate all of Porygon's 2 health. Porygon 2's health between these two moves. Indeed it does. And now one turn of Trick Room remaining. This is going to be tough. Definitely a turn for a double protect here from Zihao. Perfect opportunity to do that, as yeah, Amoonguss is going to switch out. Nice play by Junxi here. I like where this is going. Incineroar switching in means that Landorus is in danger of the Fake Out, which then means that Porygon 2 is able to get a pretty free Trick Room up next turn. It also means the Chenpao drops its attack even further. The one protect from Landorus, no protect from the Chenpao, just going to go for the Sucker Punch. A little bit of light damage there. Porygon 2's Ice Beam gets blocked, but really not a lot of damage being done right there. And now Trick Room undone, but now definitely, I think this is a reasonably free Trick Room the other direction here. The Fake Out should stop the Landorus. And there isn't much that Zihao can do here about getting that Trick Room up on Junxi's side. That will definitely affect things, as at that point Porygon 2 can just start launching out Ice Beams. Shouldn't be in much danger. There's the Fake Out. I think a Sacred Sword going into the Incineroar does pretty solid damage, all things considered. Pretty solid damage isn't going to be enough, and it's not going to target the big threat of that Porygon 2. And at this point, the Porygon 2 can just start launching damage. Not a whole lot to be done here. A Protect would stall out a turn, but I don't know what stalling out a turn would do here. particularly with the knockoff available to hit the Chen Pao pretty hard. We'll see the Protect out of the Landorus, maybe eventually trying to stall out those turns. The Ice Beam from Porygon 2, so not going to be the Sucker Punch this time. Instead, it's going to be Knockdown to Focus Sash by Knockoff. Focus Sash activates before the Knockoff activates. And it's going to be Icicle Crash into the Incineroar. Strange choice there. Sacred Sword did quite a bit more damage we saw earlier. And now both these Pokemon pretty likely to drop from this hit. And there's not much to be done about it. Chen Pao with that Terra Ghost does have a lot of options, but this Porygon 2 team from Junxi is just so flexible. Like, it's a really nice adaptation to this current metagame. We're moving slower, moving more balance-based, and Porygon 2 takes advantage of a lot of those teams. See the switch out from the Landorus. And I believe that's going to be the Urshifu switching in. I mean, it has to be. Only Pokemon remaining, we know it. We'll see the Ice Beam. Will not finish off the Urshifu, but that knockoff sure will. Urshifu drops. And that means Landorus will have to switch back in without a Funny Bear companion. Choice Scarf gets knocked off, but that's not going to mean much of anything. Let's see, there's 2 turns of Trick Room remaining. I think the only out here might be a Double Protect. Might actually be 2 Double Protects even. Going to be very difficult. And I think even then, Incineroar might be able to switch out and switch back in here, go for a Parting Shot alternatively, but I think a raw switch from Junxi here would be able to guarantee this one. Even then, it'd be difficult to work back from that, but I think I'm slowly reading it out. I think the only out is a Double Protect from Landorus. There's the first Protect. Hitting Porygon 2 on the turn that Trick Room ends with some ground move, knocking it out. Now there's the Incineroar Parting Shot. Gonna lower that attack of the Chen Pao even more. All of these Pokemon are weak to ground except for Amoonguss. And Amoonguss doesn't want to eat a ground move all too much either. Right now, I think I have to see the Double Protect, and we do not get it. Sucker Punch will come out into the Amoonguss. That'll finish off the Chen Pao by itself. Getting knocked out by that Rocky Helmet damage. And the Ice Beam will finish, well, first we're going to see a Pollen Puff, but then the Ice Beam will finish things off from that Porygon 2. And Junxi with the clean 2-0 victory, winning round number 1. Very nicely played, all things considered, through that battle. Very clean and controlled. It's the sort of thing you want to see from a top player here in this region like Junxi in a early round like that. Sit up in my seat now. But just altogether well played. I mean, there's a lot of skill in winning games that against players who are very good, but there's also a lot of skill in winning games against players you just don't play against often. Have not seen Zihao here very much. Regardless, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, round number 2 of Swiss. Don't go anywhere.